Okay, here we go. We are live and in action. Back again. Tuesday night, HOBO Cup Series. And it is Chicagoland tonight. Keeping the Tuesday tradition going here. We are into the second half of the season, well and truly into the second half of the season here. And I'll be honest, it feels like it's been just breezing on by. But when we get right down to it, it's been a lot of awesome racing. As mentioned before, if you're just tuning in, it's been a lot of parity this season. Multiple different winners. I believe that the current number is 10. I'm looking at standings, and indeed it is 10 different winners in these races. So we'll see if we can try to keep that streak going of the competition. No one has won more than 3 times this season yet. Herman Reese and Mac Daddy Keith McLean hold that honor. Will one of them break that tie, or will someone else join that tie? Will we see another new winner? Chicagoland, you never know what you're going to get. It could be clean and green for a long time. It could be as chaotic as you can get. So, hey, only time will tell. And got 2 gentlemen helping me call this one. First off, a very familiar face, our man, Zach Rogers.
Yeah, what up, Andrew? We're here in the windy city of Chicagoland, and Caleb Lingle is on pole for the 9th time this season. This man just does not stop. You see Jeff Stekenis second on the board, giving him a good run for his money, as well as last year's Chicagoland winner Keith McLean starting in P3. It's sure to be a fun night. 107 laps of action, 2x realistic damage as always. Should be a guaranteed 3-stop unless you were to clutch the entire race, which, I mean, with the trends, we're going to get probably at least 5 cautions tonight anyway, so I wouldn't worry about clutching or saving fuel or anything like that. But yes, we've also got another person up here in this lovely booth. I had to make a push over here from my chair. Mr. Trey Wright. What's up, Trey?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be aboard here for tonight's race. And like we said, a lot of parity shown so far this season. We're under the lights here in Joliet for tonight's 107-lap contest here at the beautiful Chicagoland Speedway. Hopefully, much like Carson Hocevar, the NASCAR Cup Series sort of hinted at, we'll be hopefully returning here in real life, but glad to be here for the HOBO Cup Series and glad to be joining you guys in the broadcast booth for a 3-man crew tonight.
And it's going to be a blast. I mean, we've always had a blast in the with these booths, but I think the last time I've had a 3-man for anything may have been the Budweiser Pro Series, and that was, geez, that was over the winter. And Zach, I think you were up here for that one, so that was, we'll see how this one goes down. Got the eyeballs on the chat there.
I'm watching them tonight.
I don't blame you.
Got a moderator in the chat tonight, so I'm watching the chat, but not expecting any chat problems here tonight at HOBO. HOBO always brings in a respectable chat room.
Oh yeah, it's I think that we're going to be clean and have some fun here. Just something that I will throw out there to anyone that is tuning in. Regardless of who's racing, I'm here to call it down the middle, and anything that I am or am not aware of will not play a factor in that. So that's my job. That's what I'm here to do, and we're gonna call it down the middle, no matter what.
And we're gonna get paid to do. Hell yes, sir.
Exactly. Amen to that.
That's what these admins trust me to do. That's what guys from the league trust me to do. When they are indeed paying me to do that. And by doing anything else, then that's a breach of their trust. So we ain't going there. We're just gonna have some fun. And Zach, Chicagoland, especially the SBP at night version that we've got going on here tonight, could prove to be pretty fun, or I feel like it could bite these guys. What's your experience with tracks like this?
So I haven't run this version before, but I did just run a fun race in Cup Physics at Bomb Squad last Thursday, which is also an open setup league. So I took a peek at the track and I compared them. So now one notable thing here for this version compared to the game track version is the tire wear rate is down by about 10%. So the tires aren't going to wear as quickly as they would on game track. The wear loss It's the same percentile, 31%. And the cliff is later in the run. So these guys aren't really going to cliff on wear until like maybe the last 5 or so laps of a run, if they even get that far. Just based off the trends. Tire heat is also lower, and the grip is not that much higher. It's only a 1% different on the asphalt. So I think these guys will be running around the same times as they would on game track. I think I saw in practice guys were running around 28.8s to 29.1s for race pace. So I would anticipate tire fall off to be around a second, maybe a second and a half.
Yeah, that'll be something to watch out for here. It'll be, yeah, how many yellows we may get. Trends, at least from the races that we've done, have been first
10.
half can be pretty 10.
Maybe
I mean,
more.
not too far off. First half is usually pretty interesting as guys are feeling it out, but then the second half tends to get a little bit better. You get some green flag running in, and then all it takes is that one caution at the end. Everybody stacks up, and heck can break loose, is a way to put it. So, I don't know what we're going to be expecting here for this one, but what we can definitely expect will be some sliding from, again, just all the mile and a halves that we've seen. So, but yep, Caleb Lingle on pole once again. My goodness, that domination continues in qualifying for that 113. Our last race winner at Atlanta last week. Can he get another one and join the 3-time Winners Club? It's going to be the big question. He's still down there in the points relative to where, honestly, he should be. 13th in points, albeit, of course, with 2 missed races, which didn't help things. But, I mean, still, you look at the 2 wins, but the 7 top 5s, 9 top 10s. I think that, again, that's not the full story of the speed.
I mean, he's rebounded. He's rebounded nicely, right, Andrew? Remember at the beginning of the year, I mean, I don't even think he had like 1 or 2 top 10s in the first 6 races. So, I mean, he's rebounded very nicely, all things considered. And just wanted to touch on this. We didn't really go through the rest of the starting order, so I'm just going to run us down the order really quickly here as we grid up. You've got Ken Hansen rolling off P4 next to Keith McLean. Herman Reese and Wiley King are in row 3. Mark DeSenza and Harry Kodian row 4. Eddie Rayleigh and Duke Sorensen are in row 5. Jason San Diego, Steve Grant, row 6. Ricky Bumbalo, Steve Rubino, row 7. Fugate and Irv Johnston in row 8. And then rounding out drivers that set a time are Troy Donahue and Dan Rubino in row number 9. So rest of your drivers here that did not set time include Bob Gibson, Rob Heath, Ron Simpson, Kilojoules, Randy Smith, and Mike Erickson, who's in my new favorite paint scheme here on the grid in that Playboy 69 Chevrolet.
Gotta love it. And we'll see that car in just a moment after I get back into the game because it crashed.
Radio style, y'all.
At least it was before the green. At least it was before the green this time. Oh my gosh.
Command has been given. We're getting set. Pace car rolling off the pit lane here is Caleb Lingle rolling off a little bit with Stakanis to his outside to make up row number 1.
Yeah, we'll get in there in time. Here we go. Yeah, great to see Mike Erickson back out here. It's been a hot minute.
Certainly has.
Things pulled up here.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I've seen him in the races I've done, Andrew. I can't recall seeing that 69 car out on track in all the races I've done, but according to the standings, he has made 9 starts.
Yeah, we've been able to see a couple of them. But yeah, it's been I think probably since the 9th race, if I had to guess. Since we've seen him, it has been a hot minute since we've seen Mike Erickson, but actually we don't see him.
I think he fell out. KJ's been having some issues here too. Right as we're about to go green, you touched on multiple winners this year, Andrew. Only 2 of those 10 winners have 1 win apiece, and that is Steve Grant, second in the points, and KJ.
KJ looking to get another one into that column, and Steve Grant, King Consistency, would certainly love another W, but here we go. It is Chicagoland. And we are green for 107 laps here in Joliet. Through 1 and 2 cleanly. And Caleb Lingle out with the lead ahead of the 31. 28, 73, 94. Currently slotting into the top 5 positions. Caleb pulling away a little bit. And Zach, I'll also mention this to you. Obviously, you've seen a lot of these races. And while we touched on Caleb's ups and downs, if there is one thing that he seems to have, it seems like a car that he can push pretty hard with and not really fall off as much as you might think based on how hard he runs it.
Yeah, that could be a little bit of setup and a little bit of technique, you know, depending on how he is entering the corners compared to other drivers. He could be saving a little bit more right front compared to the other guys and still being able to get in there as fast as them. So, you know, that can play out in the long run, and a lot of that can have to do with the weight spread across the chassis, you know, the spring rates you're running, how much heat gets into those tires, all those things combined really factor into your long run pace. We see KJ now out on track. He'll be a lap down, might go 2 laps down here. He came out right in front of the race leader. Mike Erickson has not yet gotten onto the track, and it does not look like he has returned to TeamSpeak yet either. So might not see Mike here tonight. Might have had some problems there. I know there's been storms up and down the East Coast, and a lot of these guys are on the East Coast.
That's unfortunate. Going to miss out on that Playboy car. I was looking forward to that. As Ken Hansen for 4th place got by the 73 Herman Reese at Cadillac after, again, a bit of a hot streak mid-season. Has cooled off a little bit, but has still had some great runs. Of course, we got to talk to him with a podium finish at Pocono. Maybe a bit of a lucky podium, but still, podium nonetheless. Top 3, kind of a... Well, yeah, maybe not that pulled away. Caleb's kind of a few car lengths ahead. Jeff with a mirror full of the 28. And then you go a little bit back to the 94. So far, clean and green. Question is, though, how much pace is that 029 going to have? We know he's fast, so... Although he did just lose 2 tenths that lap to the 113. So the last thing he wants is to fall 2 down because they don't give any laps back here. You got to earn them back the hard way, and
well, they give lucky dogs, don't they?
They do, but
yeah, they're not going to give him laps for falling out or missing the start. No.
Yeah, and getting back from 2 down, regardless of really any circumstance, that's always going to be a bit of a tall task. Trey, I know that. Oh, we got trouble on the front stretch. Rob
Yeah,
Heath.
I was just about to say that. Oh, geez.
Spinning it. Yellow flag? No.
Yes, the yellow flag is
there.
out.
It is. Dan Rubino also in the grass.
He done.
Done. Oh wow. Let's have a look here.
That's going to save kilojoules. He was going to go 2 laps down, and now instead he'll get his lap back.
Yeah, that is huge, and KJ is going to be on a tear, and you know that. As racing for 17th, and Dan was getting loose, but yeah, Rob honestly just kind of plowed up the racetrack there into him.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was more Dan came down than Rob came up. I think they were going to definitely be tight, but I mean, Dan just straight up was going to wreck, I think, either way. Like, he was going straight down the racetrack.
He was very squirrely. You could see a back end kick out right there. Gets up into the... Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. He did kind of come down about a groove there. TB2 with a great shot of that, at least in the camera pack that I put in here. And yeah, kind of a... Rob was going up the track, but wasn't quite ready for the 44 to try to keep it off the wall, which he did, but then found another car. So early end to the night for Dan Rubino. Voluntarily retires it after that. Rob Heath, after getting her down pit road to... Actually, hasn't been down pit road yet. Still got a flat tire. But I don't think the damage is going to be too severe on that thing, as we've got everybody on pit road otherwise.
Eddie Rayleigh with a nice park in his stall there. Not 45 degrees sideways or anything.
Oh, Steve Grant's having trouble. I saw him just back it out of there. Out they come, and just barely, it looks like 113 will keep it. And, Steve Grant, yeah, I think he must have had an issue or something. He just jumped a bunch of guys and saw him jigging in the pit stall. Don't know if that was a voluntary two-tire call, or maybe if, maybe it was not parked correctly. If one of you guys can maybe verify that.
I think it was definitely the latter there for Grant. Looking at the replay, he backed up, trying to get out of his stall. There was a little bit awkward behind the 22 machine, and was able to get some positions on the racetrack. And if they have another quickie yellow here with cautions breeding cautions, he might be able to take advantage of that track position. But overall, a little bit of early start to their really good green flag run there. Right at the start, about 8 laps before that incident, right in turn 3. And like we were talking about, KJ really had his bacon saved there. And I was going to bring up that moment that everything about lap traffic there for the 113, trying to make some moves and maybe something there, just trying to argue with his race car just a little bit. But nonetheless, lap traffic's going to be out of the way. We're going to get a restart here in the next couple moments.
Absolutely. I am going to, of course, shout out Magoo, saying go get him, KJ, and evidently a fan that you paid to be here, Zach.
I don't pay anybody to be here. I just said give my brother Andrew some love in the Discord server. Get them likes up, y'all. Let's get the likes up to 10 on this video before the stream's over. How about that?
I don't usually ask for likes, but I like the sound of that. See what I did there?
Nice.
Wow, that's cringe. You know what? Dislike the video instead.
Dislike the video. Get it to 10 dislikes. Oh, and thank you, Nelly, for calling that out. That's because my game crashed. Let's, you know what? I can fix that. We're under caution. I can do it.
Yeah, it's actually a good point. I mean, your game crashed right before, we hadn't even gone green yet, and it crashed. So, I mean, probably didn't even really think about fixing the ticker because we hadn't even had anything to load up yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's see if I'm trying to remember how I did this. And I'm trying to do it insanely quickly.
You have a minute and a half of pace laps until it goes back green.
All right, I can do that. I can manage
90 seconds.
I can do that.
6 to 90 seconds.
I can do this, Mrs. Puff. I can do this.
You know, looking at all the polls Caleb has won, as well as Herman and Keith, it got me looking at guys that have a good average starting spot that have not won a poll. And one of those is second in the point, Steve Grant, who came into the race with a 6.05 average start, but he did not fare too well in qualifying 12th. However, you do see on the standings Jeff Stekenis with a 6.2, as well as Wiley King with an 8.0. So those guys have been consistently qualifying up in the top 10, close to the top 5, week in and week out. And you can see that based on where they are in the point standings. They are replicating that qualifying position with good finishes. But you've also got guys like Ryan Johnson, you know, who don't typically qualify even in the top 15 and manage to get those top 10 runs, which I think, speaking of Ryan, I don't think he's here tonight, is he?
He is not. So there we got one of the heavy hitters missing. It's going to open things up.
Oh, we are going back green here. Pace cars down pit road. Lingo will lead them to the green here on lap number 12.
As here we go, back into the restart zone. And I do believe everything has been fixed. Just in the nick of time. See how Steve Grant's pace is going to fare now that he's up here in the top 5. Thanks to a either voluntary or involuntary strategy call. The head of the Team Speedland guys up here in the top 5. By the King in 7th. 2-time winner this season at both Nashville and Pocono. Mark Desenza, another fast driver there in 8th. Harry Cody and Jason San Diego right now your top 10. And everyone so far looking pretty good.
Nice clean single file racing right off of the restart here. Everybody just trying to, like we said in the pre-race show, you know, it's one of 2 starts here in the Hobo Racing League. Either it's kind of a bloodbath on the start where everybody's just trying to figure out the racetrack, or Everybody's still trying to figure out the racetrack, but they're not really running aggressive. But that intensity is going to pick up the further we get into this race, the more that everybody gets more accustomed to their track, more accustomed and trying to figure out their marks as well, and trying to push the envelope just a little bit here. But right on the start, a little bit of a 4-car breakaway for this top spot. Everybody following in the tire tracks, that 113 car of Lingle. They're starting to put some distance between 4th and 5th.
You're right on with that, Trey. And looking at the lap time so far, fastest laps on the board, the entire top 10. You go from now KJ, who just jumped to the top of the chart with a 622, all the way down to DeCenza with a 772. So separated by a 10th there for the top 10. And then when you go down to 16th, it's only another 10th. So everyone's mostly just running their race pace here. I see Lingo that last time with a 28.905. Jeff behind them with an 803. So they're all running around the same pace, beginning of the run. Set your pace, set yourself up for the long haul. And, if you don't save as well as someone else, try not to lose too many spots. But it looks like I think the lights are back on.
Caution for Ricky Bumbalo. And once again, front straightaway. And turn 4 looks like it might be the trouble spot here. Let's see if that remains true with the 85 here. Racing just ahead of Duke Sorensen for 13th. Starts to kick out. And around she goes. Missing done there by Sorensen. Looks like no contact made. It's kind of that lazy self-spin. Zach, I'll also ask you this. A lot of versions of Chicagoland I've noticed. Turn 4, compared to most 1.5 miles, feels like it really tightens up. Like, it seems like it's wider than it actually is until you get to the corner and you're like, whoa, that wall came up out of nowhere. Would you be able to attest to that? That's just my experience personally.
So, as far as Game Chicagoland goes, this might be a little different geometry, but Game Chicagoland, you typically go into 3, and it's a very downhill entry on the transition, and then it kind of swoops back up in the middle of the corner, and then it goes back down on exit. But yes, it can sneak up on you how tight turn 4 is on exit. And, looking at this replay, it looks like a little bit of Duke Sorensen sent it into turn 3 a little deeper, and he might have pushed some air onto the rear spoiler of Ricky Bumbalo, because Ricky got a little wiggly in the middle of 3 and 4 right after that near contact. And when he wiggled up, that's all it took to get the rear end kicked out. When he came off of turn 4, it spun.
Yeah, tough break there, but still a long race here, and plenty of time to try to make up some ground. Caleb Lingo leading everybody down pit road yet again. He was at 46 miles an hour for an awful long time, but
Jeff Stakenis took 2.
Oh, 2 tires. Looks like 2 also for DeCenza.
Yeah, I mean, that was only about a 5-lap run, so really good opportunity here to test the waters on a 2-tire call.
We'll see what kind of pace those guys are going to be able to hold, if those 5 laps are going to make that much of a difference or not. The time will tell. Irv Johnston has stayed out for this lap to lead it. Roy Donahue also out there. This race also sponsored by the driver the number 81. He sponsored these last 3 races, including tonight. So big shout out there to Troy, and shout out to everyone that's helped to pitch in. Seriously, it helps out a ton. And just trying to, try to get things off the ground, but at the same time, a little more security, as it were. So appreciate everyone here at HOBO and everyone else who has contributed to making races happen here on the channel. And none bigger than my man Zach Rogers here, not just because of him putting on the fast races that we've done, but also just the amount of help that he's given me. Seriously, dude. Thank you a ton. So bashful he doesn't even know what to say. Well, Trey, I'll ask you. I know you haven't called too many of these online races before. I know, obviously, we're only 19 laps in, 2 cautions in. Thoughts so far on what you're seeing?
Compared to the other HOBO races that I've seen on the sidelines this season, a little bit quieter of a start than what we're typically accustomed to. Like we said, everybody just trying to run their own race here and just trying to make it at least to the quarter of the way mark. Again, like you said, we're only 19 laps into this contest, 15 of them under the green flag. A little bit of a small sample size, but again, this is a very long race than other than what we're typically accustomed to on the offline side of things. 107 laps is about 2 hours of race. Like we saw with the 44, you don't want to wreck out early and your night only end after a handful of laps, and you're going to be as conservative as you can. But like Zach was mentioning with the SBP version of this track, you're going to notice as the cars kick up out of turn 4, we mentioned how tight it gets, but especially with the 2003 version of the safer barrier, where it just kind of kicks out a little bit. You see that little bit of a ledge coming out of the wall before the safer barrier begins. That's going to be a trouble spot for these drivers all night long. That's going to be another thing they're going to have to watch and pay attention to as these guys roll out of the center of between 3 and 4.
It's been the trouble spot thus far, has been turn 4. Both cautions taking place off of that corner. Fairly similar circumstances, albeit one was multi-car, one just a lazy spin. But here we go with Jeff Stakanis out front, ahead of Mark Desenza. Of course, Jeff, plenty of experience winning here at Hobo, and 2 wins on the season. I believe the first Atlanta race, and when we went to Papyrus Motorsports Park, a very chaotic race there. Mark Desenza up in P2. Caleb, our boy Mac Daddy, and then Ken Hansen up here in the top 5. Herman Reese, Steve Grant, Wiley King, Harry Kodian, Jason San Diego round out the top 10, coming around to complete the 20th lap to take the green flag once again.
We'll see what these 2 tire strategy calls do here for our boys Jeff Stakanis and Mark Desenza. Pace car down pit road, and we are back racing here on lap 21.
Flagman waving it with all his might. And Jeff Stakanis, a nice solid jump there. Get those tires back up to temperature. Well, it almost looked like maybe a bobble there, or just a more conservative entry for Caleb. Drop back just a little bit from those top 2. Goodness. Senza powering it off of 2, right up to the tail of 31. That Wrangler machine looking rather sporty here early in the going for this run. But Caleb already right on his tail, and a lot of guys will, at least at this point in the race, will tend to let out of the gas when they get a run like that. Oh, I think caution's actually back out again. Or, no, it isn't. I was seeing things. Here we go for the race lead. I was about to say, some guys will usually back out when they get runs. Caleb is not one of those drivers. He does not like hanging back. But Desenza to the point. That's not something you see too much. But again, another very, very fast driver.
Oh, they're going to squeeze 3 wide almost.
Oh, I wasn't sure if he was about to take it. But Keith to the inside has got 3rd, maybe 2nd.
Yeah, that was a big move by Mac Daddy in the 28 there off of turn 4. Taking advantage of it really there. He did win this race a year ago, so Keith looking to go back-to-back, fresh off his, I think, 58th birthday yesterday, but who's counting? He's done 29 twice, so, maybe he needs to change his car number now. I'm not really sure, but you can't mistake anyone else in that Haviland 28. It's going to be Mac Daddy behind the wheel.
And the only question then remains, how many beers has he had? But hey, as you said, he stopped around 5 o'clock.
Yeah, he said he stopped around 5:30, which I think the sun might have made him stop more so than the race.
Don't doubt that whatsoever.
Hey, if he's got his wits about him, as he just ran his personal best of the race at a bit of scary lap time.
Yeah, that's a scary lap time. That might be bad luck. Keith has a really good Kyle Larson tendency. He's either really fast and tough to beat, or he kind of crashes out trying. So that's going to be a bit of a coin flip lap time right there.
Now, let's see. He's got another run here on Desenza. Oh, yep, there he goes. Desenza gives him the lane. Just ran a faster lap that time. Yeah,
that lap time's gone now, so we don't have to look at it anymore.
Mac Daddy to the point.
We're going to remember it.
Now, Mac Daddy, if I recall correctly, is also looking to sweep Chicago this season. If I recall correctly, he won it earlier on when we were at the day version. Looking to sweep that. Of course, also won it at Phoenix.
Caution flag is out in the back there. Johnson going around in turn 2.
49.
They ran Chicagoland once already this year?
I'm pretty sure they did. I almost got that confused with Nashville because in my head they're very similar. Oh wait, no, was that Kansas?
You
might be thinking of Kansas.
I'm not so sure they ran this track. You know, you might want to check that.
Yeah, I'll do that under this caution after we see what happened here.
Contact into turn 1.
Oh, Bob Gibson gets into the door of the 49. He gets high and around she goes.
Yeah, Irv scraped the wall before he went into turn 1, and then I'm not sure if that might have got him a little off focus. But, I mean, he turned down before Bob really had a chance to even get into the corner. So a bit of a tricky call there. But Irv around. I might be a bad luck charm. I'm not sure if Irv has good races when I'm not here, but every time I'm here, he seems to spin out.
It's been touch and go for both the Johnston guys. 77 of DJ is not here tonight. But, yeah, those guys tend to not have a lot of things go their way, unfortunately. But everyone on pit road yet again. Jeff Stakanis is probably pretty happy about this. It looked like he was starting to struggle on those 2 tires. Oh my gosh, look who's done it again. Boy, Steve is going aggressive here tonight with that strategy. Love to see it.
Yeah, another 2-tire stop there for the 11 car, and really, really good. Beats everybody off of the pit lane. We saw it work for Stakanis there for a couple of laps right off of the start. We're going to have to see how it shakes out for Grant, especially with McLean McDaddy right behind him as well. You got to have the Jaws theme playing on this restart.
Oh, no doubt about it. He is bad fast every single week. But someone that actually made those 2 tires seem to work a little bit better was actually that 33. Still going to be 3rd, it looks like. 4th, actually. Caleb Lingle did jump him coming off the pit lane. And that's the joy of that first pit stall. Especially on these, whether it's a game track or just a slightly modified game track, which, yeah, Trey, as you alluded to, pretty much just same or similar track. Just with the safer barrier on there and a few tweaks to the I&I to help these things grip up just a little bit better, which might be playing a factor into why we've seen a fair amount of clean racing, all things considered.
Grip is good, gives everybody control.
It keeps these guys pointing in the right direction and allowing them to race each other pretty darn hard. But not so much to the point that you're just ripping it around there as if you don't care. You still got to keep it under you, especially those tires. Steve Grant will be the race leader here on this restart. McLean, Lingle, DeCenza, Stakanis will be the top 5. Ken Hansen, Herman Reese, Wiley King, Harry Codian, and Fugate. Well, that's a guy that could certainly use a bit of a turnaround here. But that number 9 up into the top 10. Should be after taking lap 30, coming to 31. Once we go green, should get the one to go this time. Lights are out. So this will put us at 77 laps to go on the restart. Should be pretty securely a 2-stop. Well, yeah, 2-stopper from there.
Yeah, everyone will have to still pit 2 more times from here.
Pit window, Zach, if I recall correctly, around the 33 lap mark.
Maybe 33. This is more of a high. It's a bit of a high-speed 1.5 miles with not a lot of fall-off, so I think it's closer to 31, 32 laps.
Gotcha. So we go 11 laps here. That could get interesting.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think trends show that you don't typically have to worry about fuel strategy. unless you're at Pocono where the field decides you're not going to pit for the first 27 laps.
That was a wacky race. It was a lot of fun, but man, was there? Yeah, everyone was all over the place. I think it was Jeff. Jeff Stacanis that stayed out for like 25 straight laps and then pitted it
It
3
was
laps into a run or something along that line.
no, it was Fugate and Harry Codian.
Ah, that's who it was. I knew it was one of the Jeffs. One of them is not out in front. Steve Grant, yep, leading these guys. And that Speedland.com Pontiac. And we'll see how he's going to be able to fare with some older left side tires. And first time out in front so far tonight.
Ooh, Mac Daddy wiggly off of turn 2.
Loves it loose. You know that. Him and KJ. They love sliding around. Oh, slide there for the 11. Here we go for the lead already. Oh, Caleb. Oh, if he was going to go for it. Going to get to the quarter panel. Whoa! Almost a block type maneuver there from the 113 on the 33. Oh, hard stuff there, but a run here for Caleb. Is he going to take it? He is not. And completely just disproved my point from earlier, but Mac Daddy back up to the point.
The 2 tires not really working here for Steve off the get-go. Got Ken Hansen here up to 6th place. He'll be looking for 5th from Steve here in a moment. Also, don't look too far now. Herman Reese in 7th place. Has been kind of quiet tonight, being patient, biding his time. And you've also got Kilojoules, who is closing in on the top 10 after starting the race 1 lap down.
See there, the 029 and making moves. See if that Stella Ultra machine can try to get it up there, up to 11th. And clear, he's right on the tail. Fugate, excuse me. And man, he's in a horde right now. Wiley King, Harry Codian, Fugate, KJ, all nose to tail. Fugate looking for 9th there on the 13. And, oh, that's going to be tight. 13.029. Hard racing, but they keep it going. But that is now a top 10 for KJ and make it possibly a top 9 as Steve is continuing to drop back.
And KJ's blinking a little more than usual here on the green, so I'd be a little nervous to be close to him right now.
Ooh. Yeah, it's not what you want to see. Just keep it steady there. Ooh, that was almost an aggressive move there from San Diego on the 13. Opted better of it. Oh, KJ's looking fast. He is looking fast. He's picking these guys off quite easily. He's up to 8th. Looking possibly for 7th if he gets the run on the 95. Checking back all the way up the front. Relatively unchanged here. Descends is still 3rd. Caleb, and then Mac Daddy leading this thing. And then 2 cars there, Stacanis and Hansen. Rounding out the top 5. A couple car lengths back.
Top 3 starting to pull away a little bit from one another, but you go back to talking about KJ, who's just trying to get around Wiley King for the 7th spot. You know, talk about the recovery that he has had. Flipping in and out there for just a brief moment. Like you said, going down nearly 2 laps right at the start of the race. Caught a quick caution as Lingle was right on the back end of him, as Lingle trying to get a little bit of a run here on that 28 car through the corner. He'll hang back by a couple of car lengths. But really good recovery so far for KJ. He's catching up. He's reeling these guys in. He's definitely going to be one of the drivers to watch out for. Had the fastest lap for a couple of laps there right at the start, was towards the top end of the board there in qualifying. His back end really stood out there on that Chevrolet, but he's able to keep it ramrod straight and going.
I don't know how.
Pretty eventful night so far. That was an impressive save right there in 3.
Oof. Lucky save there, but also that's all driver skill. And again, I just said about Keith running a very loose setup. KJ is the king of loose setups. You put me in that thing, I would be spinning out on the dang back straightaway. It is that dang loose. But he finds a way, and that is what gives him incredible pace on the long runs. And it's showing so far, even though we're in still kind of the short to medium run here thus far. top 5 all starting to get a little bit more condensed. Going back a little ways there to Herman Reese. And then Wiley and KJ.
Oh,
Fugate,
something
San
happened to
Diego.
Caleb there, right on the back straightaway. He went all the way down. He's dropped back to 4th, and he might go back to 5th. I don't know if he got really loose coming out of the corner there in 2, but he dropped that 113 machine all the way down, nearly into the grass.
Oh, he kicked the back end out on exit. But kept her straight, kept her in 4th, still within touch. But a hairy moment for the Vegas and Atlanta winner.
He got a little wiggly off of 2, and he had to swing it down to catch it.
Just ahead of the one and all. I keep bringing this up because it's still funny to me. The polls have been, as we mentioned, dominated by Caleb Lingle, Herman Reese, and Keith McLean. The only other driver to pull it off, Ken Hansen. And there he is, still with another solid going here thus far in P5. That's a sleeper right there if he's able to find his way to the front. I'll tell you that right now.
Ken's always right there, just waiting for the right situation to capitalize on. Ran a Texas race with him at Bomb Squad a couple years ago, and he got through a late wreck, got to the front, came down to a shootout, and he was able to come away with the victory. So Ken's always there, up at the front. You can't count him out at all. Put him in the right situation, and he'll score a victory here at some point.
I'm certainly going to be rooting for that. Golly, can you imagine 11 different winners? That's insane. As he's going for the 4th position, and will get it. Caleb Lingle looks like kind of gave him the, yep, you're good, go for it. Fair going here this early on. So lap 44 though of 107. Pit window probably going to be opening up. When did they pit there?
About 20 laps or so, I'd gauge from now.
Yeah, it sounds about right. If
15, 20 laps, I would gauge.
Kind of based on what Zach was saying, with kind of the lesser fall off, you're going to be lifting off the gas a little less. 32 laps somewhere in that window will probably be your sweet spot. We're getting it down to no fuel left. But Caleb, yeah, he looks like he may be starting to slip a little bit here. Under a lot of fire from the 73. Wonder if that car might be starting to develop a loose condition. Zach, I'll go back to you again, as Marcus Senza is now 2nd. But with running loose setups on these mile-and-a halves, obviously we talk a lot about the right front, but I feel like that right rear plays a huge factor in how the car will handle in the long run once it gets hot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wearing the right rear out too much, it's going to get really loose as the run goes on, and you'll have to watch your throttle input coming off corner exit more and more. I particularly run a decently loose setup here myself on game track, and the right rear will wear more than the right front. So I kind of got to take it easy at the beginning of the run, otherwise it'll get way too loose at the end of the run. As Caleb is still wiggling it off of turn 2, so Caleb's going to be in a bit of hot seat here for these next 10 to 15 laps.
There he goes. Gets wrecked. It's going to be a few cars there, including KJ, Wiley, King. Also in it.
Put it in the wall. Fugate put it in the wall a tiny bit. Shouldn't get any major damage from it. He was just hitting the brakes there.
Watch out there, fellas.
Yeah, I mean,
going through the infield grass, nearly onto the pit lane, heads up down there.
Oh, that's not what you wanted to see there. Easter famine continues.
KJ's got no rear end left, so if you thought he was loose before, he's going to have to try to throw a bunch of wedge in the car to tighten that up. But, I mean, I had a feeling that right rear was getting too hot, and, yeah, it just slowly stepped out on him there coming off of turn 4. He tried to lock it down to save it, but KJ was right there. And then Wiley King also with nowhere to go. And, that's the, what happens here at tracks like this. You're going so fast coming out of the corner. The faster you're going, the less time you have to react.
I mean, these guys aren't getting it any slower than about 165 at bare minimum through these corners. Unfortunately, Yep, back end stepping out on that 113. KJ was getting awfully close to him there, but yeah, we saw that loose condition developing on that 113 for several laps, and you could almost make the argument it was just a matter of time. All it took was just one extra step, and that's what just happened. We'll see what kind of damage that thing might have. And yeah, as you mentioned, that 029 is going to be, it's going to be having some fun trying to keep that thing straight. Why the King also a lot of side damage.
Wiley, I think Wiley was trying to crack the throttle just a little bit to where he could maybe slice underneath KJ. But I think KJ stopped a lot faster than he was anticipating. Obviously, Wiley can't really just slam the brake there coming off the corner because that would have just sent him spinning into the wreck. So that was a very difficult situation for Wiley to unfortunately be thrown into.
They're going to cost him, at the very least, a lot of track position. I believe Fugate may have incurred the wrath of the EOL penalty. He is dropping to the rear, 30 miles an hour on the apron. That sucks.
And, you know, I talked about Keith being kind of the Kyle Larson of the field where he's either winning or wrecking, but the same can be said for Caleb. Even more so, really, when you look at the statistics. I mean, Keith's got 3 wins, 7 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. So then the other 10 starts, something happened.
Yeah.
And then Caleb has 2 wins, 7 top 5s, and 9 top 10s. And then it's the same thing. The other 9 starts, something happened. So they're very similar drivers. They're very fast, but I think Caleb maybe went a little too aggressive with the looseness of his car and typically the amount of heat that he was putting into the right rear. I think the setup might be fine, but I think he might have driven it a little too hard at the beginning of the run, and that could have been the result of the spin there.
Yeah, I think that rear end stepping out there right at the beginning of that run. Not sure if it upset something with the inner mechanisms of the car, but was falling a ways back after that little step out moment off of 2, and unfortunately that was the end result there for the 113 car, but nonetheless. Was that caution number 4 already?
That is number 4. I mean,
Yeah,
50 laps in, that's not terrible.
So, Trey, yeah, when you run open setup at a track like Chicago, and well, really any intermediate, Chicagoland, Atlanta, if you want to run it loose, you can't have mistakes like that at any point in your run because one tiny slide will heat that tire up another 3 to 5 degrees. And once you hit a certain temperature, it just gets so slick that the second you go into the next corner, once you hit the middle, it's going to just start coming out because it's too hot now to grip the racetrack. It's just sliding on the track. So, you know, Caleb had 1 save off of 2, and that heated the right rear up some, and then he had another save off of 2 there right before he spun off of 4. And I think that, you know, that just, you know, you just can't be sliding that right rear at a track like this. You're just going too fast off the corner.
Well, how things have changed. Got a couple of big dogs there that are going to be not necessarily out of it, but not going to quite have the cars that they did before. At the very least, have to claw back a ton of track position. Jeff Chicane is back up to the race lead. And we've got, by my math, it looks like we'll have 55 to go, I believe, when we go back to racing.
Yeah, lost there in the chaos of reviewing that crash. Sakanis just barely beat out Mac Daddy on the pit lane by about maybe a quarter of a car length. Could have been closer than a couple of feet there for the 31. Do have some new players up towards the front end of the field. Jason San Diego rocking P5 right now. Herman Reese seems like he's been in 6th for the majority of this race. How about that 112 car? And Steve Grant still up inside the top 10, surviving after falling through the field there on that 2-tire call. But this is going to be the back end of the race where everybody is just going to be running their own race, and everybody's just going to get incrementally more and more aggressive the more that this race whittles its way down to the end here.
So one more pit stop to go, with it being 55 to go. That pit window
Guys, I
could...
just need to interject here really quickly. I was looking through the field, and we actually missed Rob Heath spun on his own on the same lap of the accident going into turn 3. Rob just drove it into turn 3, and it just spun out on him on entry. So Rob now with rear end damage as a result of that self incident. And that was happening at the same time as the incident coming off of turn 4.
We're bringing it back to green, and yeah, the other 27029 look awfully similar now, as we are back at it here with the green flag in the air. And yeah, what's that going to do for those guys? And trying to keep it pointing in the right direction, especially for Rob, who might not have as much comfort driving such a loose car. Boy, speaking of loose,
the wall.
He's sliding there off of 2. And yeah, Trey, to your point, Jason San Diego up here into the top 5. Furthest up, we've seen that 22 so far. Same goes for Eddie Rayleigh. Same goes for Randy Smith up here into the top 10. Another Speedland car up here. So a lot of different players after 3 heavy hitters end up in trouble. Flyby here off of turn 2. That is awesome. Yeah, you just saw Rob Heath kind of kick it there off at 2, but kept it straight for the time being. Steak and eggs out in front ahead of Mac Deddy. Mark Cosenza is still running very solid here in 3rd. Hansen 4th. Again, as we mentioned, a couple sleepers there. Ken Hansen, as Zach was saying, we know that he can get it done. Just got to put him in the right position at the right time. That happened with Steve Grant at Darlington. And then Steve drove the race of his life and had, honestly, probably the moment of the entire season when he saved it with 2 to go after getting nudged by Herman Reese. I think that is going to be the moment of the
turn 4
whole season. As Rob Heath, there's no one coming, though. He may stay green.
No caution.
Oh, he might have a flat. I think he's going to drive it straight to the pit lane.
Yeah, he's kind of crossed the infield. Field is going through turn 3 right now. Still no yellow, I think.
Yeah, they should be right.
Yeah, Tower says we're clear.
Looking at the back of the field, Andrew, KJ is definitely doing his best not to spin out. I mean, that thing looks really loose right now, just really touchy. And Wiley King and Caleb Lingle definitely have some form of performance damage. They are down about maybe 2 or 3 tenths to the next guys in front of them, which are Fugate and Ron Simpson. So definitely out of contention. They're going to need some luck to go their way here at the end if they want to try to get a top 10 finish, and Rob will actually just call it a night.
Yeah, I just saw him get out James Week. Troy Donahue actually just got by the 029. KJ, I mean, yeah, his speed is way down there. Yeah, he just ran a 30.2. Or for the lead. Just got back to the lead here, and Mac Daddy going for it and taking it.
Oh, we got a car up in the wall off of turn 4. I think that's Irv Johnston.
Oh, spinning.
Yep, he's spinning.
It'll be the yellow. That was right in front of Fugate and Simpson. And yep, the yellow is out. And second time tonight for that 49.
And the woes continue for the 49 team. And I mean, that was tough because it looks like he might have had some help again from Bob Gibson.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Bob made a move into the corner, and Irv just barely came down into him. They get into each other's doors, and Irv tries to pull it off the wall. And when you're pulling a car off the wall, it's so hard, especially with open setup. You're so loose, and you just typically spin out in those situations.
Yeah, double-edged sword. You either just keep it pinned up there and end up going 5 miles an hour, or you spin it out. And I mean,
I think Irv might be having a talk with old Bob Gibson after the race. It seems to just kind of be unfortunate situations, but that's twice that they've gotten together in a similar fashion.
Say that almost looked like a carbon copy just in the other corner, and instead of just spinning up on the outside, a 49 ended up in the wall. So don't know if maybe some words being had up there, like, dude, what's that?
I mean, the first time they were side by side through the tri-oval, and then they went off into turn one. And I think maybe the first time Bob just didn't turn down as fast as Irv maybe anticipated. But then that time, Bob made the move going into the corner, and he was next to them once they were going down the banking transition. But that was even, I mean, less contact than the first one. I mean, that was barely contact, but it was enough to send Irv up into the wall. And like I said, when you're coming off a wall glue, it's just so difficult to keep it straight.
Yeah,
I
everybody
remember
on pit
Irv.
road again. Sorry, Trey, go ahead.
And I remember Irv got into the outside wall in that first crash, and that kind of screwed up his trajectory going into the corner. And how about McLean going out first? The
Retain the
battle for
lead
second out there.
quite healthily so. Stacanis, Descenza, Hanson, San Diego. Looks like everyone's going to hold pretty much station here. Herman Rees, Eddie Rayleigh. Yeah, pretty much everyone top 10. Looks pretty much unchanged. One of the Kings staying out for a lady lap. We are now at 47 laps to go. Still nowhere near good enough on making it to the end here. You still gotta go at least another 16 laps probably. Yeah, these guys are clutching anyway. Interesting. Maybe into two-tire territory here for your pit stop, Zach?
Sorry, say again?
I've just seen these guys clutching, and yet obviously we would be nowhere near being able to make it to the end here. So you think maybe they're trying for a two-tire stop maybe for the final stop?
It could be that they're trying to get it from a can to half a can, and then they wouldn't take any tires. As scary as that would be for what would end up being maybe 7 or 8 to go, they could also do 2 tires with half a can and really loosen the car up. So you're talking raising the track bar, adding maybe 10% of tape. That's if they go green. Obviously, as I've stated multiple times tonight, the trends say that there's no way that that's going to happen, but you never know.
Yeah. So which do you plan for? Do you plan for the chance of it going green, or kind of observe the trend and assume that you're not even going to make it to that pit stop? That's always a conundrum there.
I would probably just be running this out, because even if I pit 2 laps sooner, if I'm going to take 2 and a can with 10 to go and I loosen it up, I'd rather have the 2 tires, since it's cup physics. It won't be as draft dependent, so I should be able to close in on the 3 seconds I'm losing over that 9 or 10 laps. Because once I get in draft, I'm going to be hauling right up to them. And when you're on heat, you got to remember too, when you pit under green, if you don't take any tires, those tires cool off a good bit. Even though you're only sitting on pit road for 15 seconds, you're going down pit road, takes 30 seconds, and you're coming off. It's going to be really slick on the apron. And heat cycled worn tires, you lose a ton of grip when they lose temperature. So then you have to work that temp back up. So I would probably want to just pit with about 12 or 13 to go and take right sides in a can at this stage.
See if we make it to that point. So we're at lap 63 of 107. A lot of good kind of, I guess you could say, medium runs this race has consisted of thus far. Bike guy Mac Daddy out in front of Stacanis, Descenza, Hanson, San Diego. Like I said, unchanged here, pretty much the whole top 10. Now, actually, I take that back. Randy Smith up to 9th, and man, after being involved in a caution, Ricky Bumbaloo up into the top 10 there. How about that for the 85? Caleb Lingle finds himself in 12th for this restart. See if he, no, he's a little bit off pace, but hopefully that'll help him out a little bit as we are back to green flag racing and a nice jump for the 28. Flying there off of turn 2 of the entire field. Single filed out. at least for the time being. As, ooh, for 9th, just about. Umbaloo taking a peek there on the 10. 10 powers around the outside and will manage to hold on to that position for the time being. Everyone starting to get those tires up to temperature, trying to manage these things as best as they can and try to keep it under them. But the old question mark of when do you pit? If you're going to have to pit under green. Marcus Senza under a little bit of fire here. And Ken Hansen, who got a little bit of a run. Quite going to have enough to go for it. Takes a peek there, trying to maybe scare that 33 a little bit into overdriving it. That's another question that I'll just throw to you, Zach. Is that something that I mean? Obviously, it's you, so this doesn't affect you. But overdriving it just that little bit to kind of get a little bit closer to the guy in front of you to try and get him to overdrive it. Much strategy to play with there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thing you can do. I mean, there's still 40 laps to go, though, so I don't think if I'm the driver in front, I would pay much mind to the guy behind me closing in. And I wouldn't want to be too close. Honestly, we just saw with KJ, Caleb, and Wiley King that if you're too close, I mean, you have less time to react if something happens. So there's still a good amount of race left to go. So I would not be concerned in being as close as possible.
30 laps to go now. 40 rather, excuse me. 40 laps here at Chicago. It's been an interesting race so far. Nothing too insane. Yeah, Lingo actually got by Fugate. Let's see that one. He's up at 11th right now. Maybe looking for 10th. Oh, that's Apron. That's not going to help his cause. If Fugate going to try to take that spot back, Steve Rubino, how about that? He's right up there. Rubino Clan's going to be pretty happy about that. But 13th at the moment. Top 4, though, well, top 6 more so. Kind of all together. Norman Reese maybe hanging back just a little bit. Herman, he's just been lurking. He's been quietly sitting there 5th, 6th, 7th, all race long. And for a guy that we see dominate a lot of races, it's been very methodical in this one.
KJ spinning up the track.
Oh, look out, Troy!
Oh,
boy.
81 just wailed him.
Nothing like cycling through the running order and you just see the 029 spinning in the grass.
Well, that car was a little bit predisposed to something like that.
Yeah, I think that might be
pace.
That might be
right
the
off
end of the
turn
night
4.
there for KJ there, unfortunately, and just trying to cut it down to the inside was the 81 of Donahue, and he just missed it by about 3 inches.
Oh.
Yeah, Bob Gibson got super lucky. I mean, he just missed KJ coming back up the track. Knew that was going to be bad with where KJ spun it. And I mean, when you look at the way this car spun out, I mean, it just barely steps out, and he tried to catch it and couldn't. And then, I mean, he's down there in the grass. He's just got it locked up. And yeah, Troy just barely gets into him.
And just a moment before KJ outright disappeared. That was interesting. Here's something different here on board. Bob Gibson. Full throttle. Oh! Never even lifted. Golly, that was an inch.
We're pitting here with 36 laps to go, so everyone is about 3 laps short on fuel. So I think we might see a lot of guys come back down and top it off here after they put 4 tires on it this time around. Jeff with a bit of a strategic way to get into a stall. Actually, that's going to hurt him because Caleb just completely blocked him in.
Yeah, that's I don't think it's quite going to pan out for him as like he had hoped. Harry Kodian in a very... Oh, if you come back into him.
Almost backed up right into Keith, and then Ken gets into him a little bit. Yeah, that was a that was quite the situation right there.
Wow. Yep, no hard feelings. Keith still wins the race off.
Wiley King stayed out to lead a lap.
Yeah, who's going to relinquish the track position? go ahead and top it off.
I think Wiley might be thinking here he could pit this time and then just clutch coming out. And if a lot of guys go back down to top it off, he'll get a ton of positions back.
And 95 is a little bit off the pace with the damage. But he is
Yeah,
going to
that
bring
is
it in this
true.
time. So probably trying everything that he can and then some. Try
Yeah, I
and get
mean,
some of that back.
if he can get into the mid pack and get draft where he's got draft in front and some draft behind it, might help him maintain track position a little bit more. Or he could have just been trying to get a lap lead since he wasn't able to get it before. And since he knows he's got too much damage to lead the race now, he was just staying out here at this opportunity. And yes, KJ has called it a night. That'll leave us with 20 cars left on the racetrack.
Tough going here. Yep, KJ out of it. The 27 out of it, and the 44 out of it. Of course, you don't see the 44 because that was after I had, or before I had closed the game to reset the checker. Magoo now, it's like, hey, his first horse in the race is out, so Mac Daddy, next choice. Mac Daddy looking very sporty, very solid. Ever since what happened to Caleb Lingle took him out of contention for the time being. This is Jeff. Yep, Jeff is on the clutch here. Alright. Should be 1 to green this time. Who is going to go ahead and pit here?
See, I think some of them, a lot of them were, I think, maybe thinking about it, or they're just using the apron to, yeah, I think they're just all using the apron to shorten the distance. Oh, Ron Simpson's going to go back down. We've seen Ron do that before. I believe it was Lowe's. Ron did that, and then he was able to cycle to the front after like a 3-lap run.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. So
No, I'm really liking the strategy there from Simpson. You know, not losing a whole lot of track position. He was in 16th, and pretty much everybody behind him coming down as well. So, only thing you got to really worry about is a pace car, which is, you know, it's going through turn 2 right now, so that's not going to be that big of an issue. But he's going to come off, and yeah, I'm really liking this strategy out of this 25 car right now, and should theoretically be able to make it to the end here on fuel. It's just going to have to be something we're going to keep tabs on.
going to be close. They're going to be 33 to go here on this restart. And as Zach was saying, that is right on that edge, especially with these guys running more full throttle than you would on the regular game version.
Yeah, it's literally 1% more asphalt grip, so they're going about 2 or 3 miles an hour faster through the corner than they would on game track.
Hey, over a long run, that's at least a lap, if not more,
Yeah,
that
it's
you're burning.
at least maybe half a lap to a lap.
Well, we'll find out. We'll see if that strategy is going to need to be deployed. We'll see if some clutch-ins are going to have to be deployed. We will find out as the green flag flies once again, lap 75 of 107. When do the games begin? They've already kind of begun, but you know more are coming. Wow,
All it
a little
takes
loose.
is one caution to throw the whole fuel window out the window.
Yep, and that is very, very possible. Caleb Lingle up to 8th place.
Oh, Troy Donahue's in the wall in turn 3. Everyone gets by him. He'll just keep it in the wall to keep it straight.
Play.
No caution.
Good courteous play there. Didn't want to. Same thing that happened to Herb Johnson after he got up in the wall after contact, and then spinning it out. And Hansen trying to fend off Jason San Diego there for the 4th position. Herman still 6th. Eddie Rayleigh, Caleb Lingle, Harry Cody, and Steve Grant. Your top 10 as it stands. Again, fuel the question mark if we do end up going green here. It'll be 30 laps to go when they take the stripe this time around.
Oh, Ron Simpson's going to spin out in turn 3, and that's going to be a caution.
Oh, into the wall.
Oh, that was a hard hit in the safer barrier there for the 25. And well, the Pied Piper of the alternate strategy is going to take out himself of that strategy, and he's going to throw it right out the window there for pretty much everybody else.
Self
Yeah, it
spin.
looks like he took a very wide arc into turn 3, and I think he might have lifted a little too late. And he might have turned the wheel a little too much to the left, and it just looped it right on entry.
And yeah, good hit into that outside wall. Realistic damage. That's it's going to take a moment to buff out.
Everyone should pit here. Question will be...
Oh, what is going on here?
Yeah, Keith and Jeff are way far ahead, so they have to stop at pit entry. Herman's actually going to stay out.
Oh, that was what, like maybe 3 laps that we just ran there?
Yeah, it was literally like Lowe's. It was 3 laps. I think if anything, you're going to just see a lot of guys take right sides only unless they're deeper back. They might take 4. Though if you are Keith, you might opt to just take 4 tires here. Jeff's going to do a better job of getting straight into a stall. He doesn't want to get back locked in as much as he did. Caleb still gives him no favors there. And yeah, most of our front runners taking 4, though San Diego takes 2.
Caleb, I think, also 2.
Legal out third. How about that?
Yeah.
What kind of speed is he going to have? I mean, like you were saying, that thing looked wounded earlier. It didn't look too wounded when he was running 8th. See if
Herman and Irv
Johnston,
the only 2 to stay out. I would think maybe Irv might pit here. Herman, I don't think will. Unless Herman... Yeah, I don't think Herman's going to change strategy now. He's going to have to stay out and hope for maybe like a 5-lap run where then everyone will pit again for tires.
Will those 3 laps make that much of a difference? I mean,
oh yeah,
we saw 2 tires. Yeah, they made a big difference for Steve Grant earlier. He was just slipping.
So the funny thing is even though the total fall off is probably only about a second, 1.2, 1.3 seconds, even though it's 3 laps, that 3 laps is still probably about a 10th at the jump. Like there's a 10th of grip there that you're missing at the jump. Now, if everyone saves tires, you can typically hold on for a few laps or so, but you know, eventually after 5 laps, you start to see that 10th of a second disadvantage. And all it takes is one good little run from the guy behind you, and he'll get to your inside and pass you.
Doesn't take much on these fine margins here. If Irv Johnston stays out here, though, that's going to throw quite a wrench into things here. He's had a bit of a tough night, but sometimes you just got to go for broke. We'll see if he ends up sticking to that. I'm with you. I think Herman is definitely committed at this point in time. And that clutch thrown in there on occasion.
It should be 26 to go here. We're going to hit 27 this time by... I'll be interested to watch Caleb here. He does have some damage, but he was holding steady when he was 12th, when he had draft behind and draft in front. We'll have to see how patient some of these guys are. He's going to have Keith McLean right behind him on the restart. You know, they have to wait until off of turn 2 to make a move until they get to under, I believe, is it 20 to go or 10 to go?
I believe it's 10.
And so, you know, Keith will wait, but once, you know, Keith might just try to set up a good exit off of turn 2 since no one else can really pass him either. But I don't anticipate Keith or Jeff and even probably Mark will stick behind the 113 too long, knowing the extent of his damage. And Irv Johnson actually decided to stay out, so this might get crazy.
Oh, this restart is going to be absolute gangbusters right here. We got 2 drivers that stayed out on no tires. I think Irv Johnston, I believe he did come back around behind the 25 of Simpson that last time around to top off, and I think he took 4 as well. So Johnson's on slightly better tires than Reese. San Diego and Lingle took 2. And everybody behind these cats have all taken 4 tires, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be a restart for the ages. I think that we can definitely predict here coming to the late stages of this one.
In some way, shape, or form, it's going to be chaos here. But Herman Reese, first time he's led tonight, and hey, we'll see if he can get that 4th win finally. As we are back to racing here. Herb Johnston, not bad there on the restart. Oh! Caleb just blew up! Or something. Something went horribly, horribly wrong.
He missed a shift there, I think, in that 113. And, well, we knew chaos was going to be on the menu there, and that was just not what you wanted.
That is not the place I was expecting it.
Yeah, he definitely missed a shift right on the start. Going back and look at the telemetry, I don't know if he broke 4th gear or shifted in the wrong... Yeah, he shifted in the wrong direction. He went from 3rd to 1st.
Oh.
And that just stacked up everybody back in there. And the dominant car of the night, Heath McDaddy McLean, unfortunately the primary driver involved in that. And I think it's confident to say that was certainly the big one, but just a bad mistake there out of Caleb.
Oh, that's weird. He wasn't even due to shift to 4th gear yet. I wonder if there might have been an equipment issue there.
Yeah, with how suddenly he turned down, I mean, sure, you can blame that on him spinning the tires, but sheesh.
It almost looks like it might have popped out of 3rd and went back into neutral. Yeah, it looks like it popped out of 3rd into neutral and then back into 3rd and then somehow popped it into 1st. So I think that Caleb will have to confirm with us another time if he opts to. I think he's done, so he might just leave TeamSpeak here, but I'd be curious to bet that might be a shifter issue.
Yeah, that was odd. That was not like just a normal failure there. He almost spun out quick enough that he almost missed everybody. It's amazing that
you know
was
who
the only
was
one involved.
Well, you know who was too close, and I mean Irv didn't get a good restart, so they were all stacked up behind Irv. So when that happened to Caleb, Keith literally couldn't do a thing. And he was the first one to get collected. Everybody else was able to scatter. Saw Eddie all the way down in the grass. But I'll tell you what, that Texaco Haviland Ford is going to have a fire lit up under its ass these last 20 so laps.
You're not kidding. He's pretty much undamaged. And if anything, aside from obviously the guy who blew his engine, the guy who had the most damage out of that was Ken Hansen after he got tapped by Eddie Rayleigh and into the outside wall.
Yeah, I see that here on the replay. Yeah, Ken's probably going to be a little tight with the door damage from that hit. Mac Daddy's going to be restarting down in about 18th here.
Holy moly.
This race has kind of fallen potentially into Jeff Stekenis and Mark DeSenza's lap. And, I've talked a lot this year about Mark. He's had good runs, go bad. He's got 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s on the season. This could be his moment right here to capitalize and get a win.
We've only been able to talk to him maybe once or twice this season. It'd be awesome to see him in victory lane. And again, an 11th different winner. And like you said, Jeff Stekenis looking to join the 3-time winners club. But I'm still not fully convinced that Herman Reese is out of this. He's got a knack for these cars and these tracks. And just how perfectly he was just lurking there in 6th pretty much all night long. Even though he is on the older tires. And the fact that he's got 2 guys that may be struggling here a little bit directly behind him. I don't know. Unless the 31 and the 33 make very quick work of these two, that 73 I think is still in a great position here. We're going to be 21 to go probably on this restart, although it won't get much better if Irv Johnston blinks out.
Yeah, I think it might just come down to tire wear there for the 73 car, because fuel, with all the caution laps that we're running, I think fuel isn't going to be the X factor we thought it was going to be, but I think if Herman's just able to keep his wheels from underneath of him, and especially if he got the two guys back in here with Johnson and San Diego playing blocker to the 31 of Stacanis, then should be smooth, not really smooth sailing, but not really rough sailing as well. But especially in terms of the championship points as well, Reese has got a 110-point lead over Steve Grant. Of course, like we said, Ryan Johnson was out of this race. Fugate has had some issues, and Stacanis is trying to chip into that 353-point deficit behind the 73 car. But right now, could be Herman Reese's time to try to break that deadlock between himself and Keith McLean in the 3-win category right now, coming to the late stages of this contest.
21 laps to go on this restart. I smell more chaos, especially with the guys who are up front. 16th is Mac Daddy. I'm with you, Zach. He is going to be on fire and trying to make his way forward. Hopefully he doesn't get too aggressive. We will find out. Jeff Stacanis even giving some room to these guys up the front. We go back at it. Here in Joliet. I almost said Joliet, Chicago. What? Joliet, Illinois.
The heat.
It's that heat. It's that cold. I have a freaking cold. Again. I'm calling another race while sick.
Someone's loosey-goosey
Wow.
there off of turn 2.
A lot of guys. Jason San Diego going for P2. And ooh, this could get dicey here.
Oh, he's blinking
Yeah, he's
too,
still
off
blinking.
Of the corner.
Little squirrely, and he really 3 wide on the apron. Backs out of it on Descenza. Oh, and that's into the quarter panel. Keep it up there. Keep it up there. Looks like he will.
Oh,
no, he won't.
Smith almost gets into him.
That was close. Holy Christmas.
Nice slave. Right there.
He's starting to pick him off.
Marcus Senza.
One at a time. Don't get in the Bumble. Bumble might get into Gibson. Oh, they're around.
Oh, they are around.
5.
Verbino, Gibson. And the 49. Someone's smoking.
Oh,
And that's
Steve.
Gibson.
Steve is dead too. Steve hit the inside wall, actually.
Double D in there for the Rubinos.
Oh, Steve almost hit the pace car. Oh, that was a hard lick to the inside wall. I don't think I've ever seen anybody hit that wall before.
I'll have to have a look at that. I was just about to call Mark Descenza. Got up into 3rd ahead of Stacanis. Yeah, we're going to have a little look at this.
Oh,
Yeah,
my. Holy crap. Wiley King almost got killed there by the 07. Good Lord.
When you watch this, it's really all bad timing because Bob was out of line and he was kind of slow on the top. Keith made a late move to the inside of Bumble right off of turn 4, and that put Bumble in a really tight spot where he tried to come down to stay off of Bob, and he got a little wiggly, and Keith was there, and that just triggered this whole thing. And I think, unfortunately, Keith will not have the car he needs now to get back to the front. But that's what happens. You get to the end of these races. All it took was that one little unfortunate mistake from Caleb. Whatever happened there with his deal with the shifting on the restart, it set Keith back in the pack. And now Keith had to try to be aggressive, which he hadn't really had to be all night. And he got caught in a bad spot there.
Bob Gibson up the track, letting off. Forces Bumble down. And then once they start spinning out, nowhere for them to go. Just look at Rubino. Oh my goodness, that's going to hurt. Oh.
Yeah, it makes me think of Blaney's crash at Nashville last year.
I was just thinking the exact same thing.
It's like no one hits that wall. Like that's like no one will ever hit that wall again. Like you're not going to see a crash like we just saw Steve Rubino have. Like it came down off the wall in the tri-oval just the right way to where like the tires were still gripping up the track, and it just went straight to that inside wall in front of the pace car.
A wheelie for Bob Gibson there. His engine blew the second that Rubino hit him. Those
And that's realistic. That's realistic for you. You get hit in just the right spot, and it's game over.
Get one more look at Steve Rubino's incident here.
I mean, Bob got sandwiched in the wall, and it kicked the whole front end of the car up in the air. Yeah, I'm not surprised that that's a race ender for the 46.
There's the hit there for the outside for the 07, and this is just, ugh.
A lot of good cars taken out in that crash here in the late stages. And I do want to point out that Eddie Rayleigh in the 112 surrendered from the 5th spot to take 4 tires in the pit lane. So not a whole lot of cars left in this race. We did see a couple of takers towards the tail end of the field, of course, that were, some of them were caught up in that crash, but Rayleigh coming down to take 4 tires, top off on fuel, and we'll see how he's able to shoot through the field there in that U.S. Army 112 Ford. But
And I'll give you a little inside knowledge here on this. I'm not so sure he might have added fuel. It's actually a good tip in open setup that if you're good on gas and you don't need to add any, you are better off raising the track bar to make it looser instead.
And can confirm, running on less fuel. You'd think it would make you faster because, less weight. Ugh. No. That thing will start pushing like a dump truck.
Yeah, well, you've got to raise the track bar to compensate.
Exactly.
Because it's not going to turn. It's going to feel snugger. It really kind of turns the same even if you don't raise the track bar and you have less gas in the car, but it feels a lot snugger. But I mean, less fuel in the car will help your straightaway speed a very tiny bit. You probably wouldn't see that happen here, but at like Daytona or Talladega, having less gas in the car would be an advantage.
Huh. Interesting. I mean, it makes sense. Oh boy. Great to what you were just saying, or saying a little bit ago, that as these laps tick down, it's just going to get more and more aggressive, and we just saw another incidence of that there. It's going to be 15 laps to go this time. 14. Yeah, 14 laps, rather. I can't math. Darn heap. But that aggression is just going to keep picking up, and all it takes is just that one little bit of contact, one slip, one kick out of the back end to bring these laps down even further.
And it's just playing more and more into the wheelhouse of Herman Reese. The more caution flags that we've got, the more rubber that he's able to save from that 73 car, and more time it's going to run out there between Descenza and Stakanis, as those two have swapped spots here on the racetrack. I really think that coming out of the back straightaway, Mark Descenza is really going to start to make his move there on the inside of that 22, but here we go. All bets are off.
Here we go, 14 laps. Are we done with yellow flags? We will find out. Don't count on Jason San Diego, though. He is on 2 tires. Back to it. And coming into turns 1 and 2, they'll keep it pretty orderly for right now. But that 33, kind of what you're saying. Trying to already kind of pick his point, pick his move. Ken Hansen looking for 4th. Oh, Duke Sorensen 6th. Hello there, 59.
Never count out Duke. He's got 11 top 10s on the season.
Another one of those inconsistencies there as Descenza tries for the outside. Not going to be able to pull that off. Still got the 31 right on his tail. 95 is there lurking as well. That's Cadillac, Chevy, Dodge, Ford. It's not something you hear every day. Ooh, this might be a run here for the 33. Not quite. It got a nice little diamond there. Everyone's still holding station so far. Got her down to 12 laps to go here at Chicagoland. Everybody's still stacked up behind that 73, who's lurking pretty sporty. Still hanging in there, hon. Old tires out in front, checking on back in the field. Mac Daddy's still not done yet. He's running 11th. And maybe looking to take advantage of a battle here between Fugate and Randy Smith for 9th. Harry Codian for 6th on Sorensen. And oh, that might be a up the track moment there for the 73. Here we go for the lead. 22 to the inside.
Mark DeSenza trying to set up a run here off of turn 4. He's to the outside of San Diego. Hansen all the way down on the apron in the tri-oval. San Diego trying to give as little room to DeSenza as possible. They'll be side by side, even through the middle of the corner. Give the advantage to the 33, but he gets loose, and that'll stack him back up side by side with the 22. Jeff Stekenis now in the wings, waiting to see what will happen here for the battle for second place as San Diego clips the apron a bit.
Oh, I thought that was about to be a moment. Ken, big dive. You'll get to the inside 31. Or not quite. Oh my goodness.
Tries to cross over Jason, but Jason did not slide up enough.
I thought they were about to lock bumpers right there.
Fugate now putting a move on Duke Sorensen as Keith continues to move forward.
Oh, Fugate!
We got a spin!
Big crash, turns 3 and 4. And it's Fugate this time.
Everyone missed them, though.
One car involved.
And Herman Reese has managed to hold on to the lead this entire time since staying out on that one caution. And we're going to have one more chance to rack them up and see what happens.
Credit to San Diego for fending off DeSenza. And those two got awfully close, but very, very respectful racing out of those guys. San Diego's doing an incredible job on those two tires. And Herman's just being his smooth old self. He's just got to hold on one more time. Whether it's probably 3-4 laps would be my guesstimate. Maybe
if
5.
Anyone near the rear wants to try something here. It looks like everyone's content with what they've got. Obviously, Fugate will pit since he spun. Troy Donahue, Wiley King, who have had damage, will pit, but no one else is going to try anything. They just know there's going to be so little laps left, and there's probably going to be a wreck that ends the race over anything else.
That is quite possible.
If Mark had gotten by Jason, he would be in a fantastic position on this restart.
Oh, Fugate just stepping out, and then he corrected it, and the car caught, and just that old shimmy back and forth of you got it, you don't, and that set him up into the wall, and he actually ended up spinning out again, and going through 1 and 2 as he was trying to catch up.
Yeah, I think he was dizzy.
Hit the wall. Hit the wall where there's no safer barrier there off turn number 4, unfortunately, for the 9 of Fugate. But how about Mac Daddy McLean? We saw him. We knew that after wrecking out in that couple cautions ago, restarting 18th, he was going to be driving like a man possessed. He's all the way up to 7th, and I got a feeling that there's a lot of Havoline left in the tank of that 28 car. He is certainly not done yet in this contest, and on this final restart, it is going to be very interesting to see how balls to the wall that 28 car gets on this restart. But we're going to see an Oklahoma land rush right off of the restart here in a couple of laps. This is going to get absolutely bat poop insane, guys. Goodness gracious.
Thank you for censoring yourself.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one before.
Bat poop.
We'll
go guano on that one. That's the official terminology.
I think it'll be 4 to go here on the restart. I believe they'll restart on lap 104, so they'll have 4 to go, but it will be next flag ends the race. So if they wreck again, they'll be racing back to the finish. And they might just end another one under yellow if that is the case.
Got to make it to the white. That's the big thing there. We gotta get this baby under green. But man, that 33 is bad fast. He's got to find his way around that 22 though. That 22 is not letting him have it easy. And 73, I don't think the 22 has anything for him. That 33 though just might. but their tires seem to be almost evening out. Pretty close to it, just with the steady pace that Herman was able to run.
You know, big picture here, Andrew. The playoffs are getting closer. Herman, your points leader by 110 over Steve Grant. Steve currently in 8th place. Ryan Johnson, 3rd, next closest. Not here tonight. I believe maybe he might get a provisional. Not sure how those work here. But you got to think Herman wants to at least win the regular season points title. So he's got a great shot here, even if he has to give up a position and finish 2nd or 3rd. He's a good ways here ahead of Steve. So he's in a great spot. And yes, 4-lap shootout or yellow flag will end this race.
Thank Danny's still on the charge, as you were saying, Trey, in 7th. May have a shot at the top 5 here. Got to send our shout-outs to Randy Smith and Eddie Rayleigh. Tail end of the top 10 at the moment. Herb Johnson's still hanging in there in this thing. He's 12th. Wiley King is 13th. After being involved in an accident earlier. Well, the chips are on the table.
They're all going to the center. Hold on to your butts, boys. This is going to be one heck of a finish.
Hold them or fold them. Herman's just got to hold them off. But if that 33 gets by the 22, watch out. He's going to be hungry. And very hungry indeed. Herman Reese, though, as we've said, he's in a tie for the most wins on the season with 3. God, that's still insane. Oh, he doesn't blink out. Great time for that to happen, but here we go. 4-lap shootout. Next flag will end it. Checkered. Or the yellow. Ooh, man, what a
wheel spin
restart.
here on this restart.
33 to the inside already. Oh, they both got to run. Oh, they both got to run there. Oh, he got loose in 33. 22 with the run.
Fugate going around to the back. Is that the end of the race? No, it's not.
It's coming.
Still green.
Still
no
green.
one's coming.
Oh, there we go.
Sticanus. Off of
this is
the
gonna be
33. Big
Jeff is
crash.
upside down.
He's flipped it.
Oh, no one's left in.
Oh, that is a big crash there for Steve Grant as well. Wiley's in it.
Wiley spun out trying to Days of Thunder it. He'll still get 9th, though. He's just got to get her back going. I thought Wiley was going to crush somebody. Steve Grant's involved. Herman Reese is going to come away with a win. And, you know, Steve being unable to go anywhere, that's going to be huge for the regular season championship for Herman Reese.
And all of his nearest guys are going to be either not here tonight or in a heap of trouble. And, oh my goodness, what? Oh, those cars look like it just went through the meat grinder. That was the most violent, biggest crash of the night.
I mean, everyone's... The start-finish line is right there, and it's raced back, so nobody wanted to lift. Everybody tried to just scatter and get through the mess. But there were so many cars around. You had Keith around. You had Harry around. You had Jeff around. There was really nowhere to go. I mean, we saw Steve threw it down the best he could, and it just spun him out, and he went right back up the track.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty much just a log jam back in there. Johnston, I think that's what his 4th incident he's been involved tonight. McLean, after just the incredible comeback that he had in that 28, he had mortal damage. And then really the big fish in that, like we said, Jeff Sticanus just getting completely totaled there in the 31. A lot of good drivers involved in this accident. And this is going to end on the yellow.
I can't really fault Mark DeCenza on that one too much. I mean, they got close there in the middle of the corner, but Mark started to come back down towards the apron, and Jeff just came down the track a little bit more, and that started the contact. So just really hard racing here at the end of this thing, trying to get everything they could get.
They both tried to diamond it, and unfortunately the 31 just, too close, and sent him a hard around. Harry Kodian also involved. That's a huge bummer.
I hate to point this out, but that 0.666 lap time for Keith did not go away after he set a 640. So, You can't sit those.
As soon as you run that in the race, yeah, you're toast. White and yellow flags out for Herman Reese here. We'll get some more looks at that wreck once we take the checkered here officially. But Herman, back to victory lane.
Taking a look at some other drivers here. Randy Smith's going to get a top 5. That's his second top 5 of the season. 10th top 10 for Randy. You got Ken Hansen, of course, with his 5th top 5. Mark DeSenza, his 3rd top 5. We mentioned him having a good run tonight. And Jason San Diego with his 2nd top 5 of the season in 2nd. And I believe, didn't Jason finish on the podium at Pocono? And that was the first time we got to talk to him this year. So we're going to get to talk to him again.
That he did. He's on an upward swing here. We'll see if he can keep that going in that 22.
You know, there's a funny thing. I was listening to Door Bumper Clear this week, and Freddie Kraft was saying how some people think momentum doesn't exist in racing. Well, it does, and it exists in the sim racing side of it too. And Jason San Diego's got some good momentum going his way recently.
He can keep that going into the next race.
Troy Donahue also with a top 10 finish, his first of the season, the 81.
Oh yeah, good for Troy there.
Wow, how about that? Irv Johnson 9th after everything that he's been involved in. Coming to the checkered officially though, under the yellow. The tie has been broken. Our first 4-time winner on the season. Took us this long. And Herman with the strategy call that played out over 30 plus laps ago. Get him the W.
Sorry, did you say that was Troy's 3rd or 1st?
His first. Top. Oh no, his 3rd top 10, first top 5 of the season. My apologies.
No, Troy's down at 10th.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's okay.
Third top 10 of the season. Still, he was towards the back end of the field all night long in that number 81, and he was able to get the job done with a good top 10 run there. So,
yeah, I mean, all he had to do was miss the 3 cars that were flying off of turn 4, sideways, flipping and everything.
Yeah,
that was the only flip we had tonight.
Yeah, it took us that long, but that was easily the monster wreck of the night. That was insane. But burn it down.
Move of the race for Herman Reese, staying out on that caution after a 3-lap sprint, and he was able to maintain the lead, and he never looked back. Guess he didn't really want to burn it down too much.
He's not much of a showman, as we've seen tonight. He just was running 6th all night, got the strategy call. And aside from one time that he went defensive on the backstretch there, when the 22 had the run, just did his thing. I think it was last week I jokingly said that Caleb Lingle was the far more exciting driver to watch. Herman's almost boring, but it pays off for him, and that's what you want to be. And from my personal standpoint is, man, there's the flip. Yeah, from my personal standpoint, you want to be the guy that no one notices. You want to just be vibing out there doing your thing. That's what Herman does. And that's how he
want to be that Jimmy Johnson figure on the track.
So solid, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to see him make it 3 wide almost ever. And one final look at the Airborne 31 here. Nowhere to go there for Keith or Harry. Oh, Steve Grant. I mean, it was interesting. He kept his foot in it. But, yeah, that thing did not get back around. Man. Yeah, Zach, you're absolutely right. They knew they were coming to the... Like that was it. They weren't going back around again, so... Just, take the wheel, Jesus. Yeah, how about that for Herman Reese breaking the tie and getting the W here with San Diego and DeSenza in 2nd and 3rd. How about that? 2nd for the 22, 3rd for the 33. Don't think you can make that up too often. Ken Hansen, Randy Smith, 4th and 5th. Andy Rayleigh, Ricky Bumbalo, Wiley King, Herb Johnston, and Troy Donahue. Keith McLean, yep, after that. Amazing recovery drive, going to end up 11th. Cody Ann in 12th. Sorensen, Fugate. Jeff Stukanis will not finish, but will end up 15th. Actually, still finished ahead of Steve Grant, who is technically classified 2 laps down. And then the rest of the DNFs there with Gibson, Rubino, Lingle, Simpson, KJ, Rob Heath, and Dan Rubino. In that order. Still, though, thrilling stuff. And we've already got someone bashing down the door to get in here. And Mark DeSenza just hopping on in. Mark, I'll just confirm you copy.
Yes, I got you.
Right on, man. 3rd place run. Up there all night. That 33 looks like the odds are ever turning in your favor on a season that hasn't quite gone your way a lot with the speed that you've had. But another impressive run tonight. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. There's a congratulate Herman on the win. Good call there. And Jason. Yeah, I wish maybe the last 10, 12 laps could have went green. Just couldn't get a good run on the 22 there cleanly. So, but I just kind of happy to finish, to be honest.
Totally understandable. I guess I will bring it up. You racing hard side by side with that 31. To me, yep, looked like just a racing deal. You guys both kind of diamond in the corner, and then the contact was made. But that kind of what it seemed like from your perspective, because on my end, that's what it certainly looked like.
Yeah. Sorry that happened. And I think we both he may came down a little. I made a wet up, but I told him privately I owed him that. But no, we just it was just hard racing, and just we already talked about it there, and it just kind of got into each other at the end.
Yep, hey, that's hard racing, going for the win. Just a handful of laps left. I'll turn it over to Zach first if you've got any questions for our 3rd place finisher.
No.
Fair enough. Trey, any questions?
Not really. I think you really hit every nail on the head there, Andrew.
Fair enough on that one. Mark, I'll ask you just one final question here. Like I said, you're finally having some runs go your way here. Confidence level for you heading into Richmond?
Pretty good. I like that track. Feel confident in a lot of races. It just, I got to put the whole race together, either wrecking or black flags or internet, whatever the problem may be. But even to finish 3rd with these guys, I mean, I'll take that for sure. But yeah, I wish we could just get some good finishes put together. It's been really a horrible year, but when we do finish, we usually have halfway decent finishes. So the speed's there. It's just luck, that's a skill in itself. So we just need a little more of that.
Yeah, well, it's always the luck skill combo that every driver faces at some point or another. But awesome job tonight, though, man. You were up front pretty much the entire night. Never fell outside the top 10. That machine is looking mighty, mighty sporty. So looking forward to see what you could do at Richmond. Before we let you go, though, of course, closing thoughts, shout-outs, whatever you want, my man. Have at it.
Yeah, just shout out for you guys putting this on, and you guys doing an awesome job on your broadcast, and Herman for winning the race, Jason and everybody else. Good run. It was quite exciting, and of course, HOBO racing.
Pleasure is all ours. Great stuff tonight. We're looking forward to see what you can do when we go short track racing in a week's time.
Yep, looking forward to that.
Still luck, my brother. Sends a 3rd place.
Insufficient
all right.
permissions.
Thank you, guys.
Oops, wrong place. There we go.
User was moved out of your channel.
Jason San Diego had to leave, so we will not be interviewing our 2nd place finisher.
That's okay. That's a bummer, though, because that would have only been the 2nd time we would have got to talk to him. But, hey, happens. And our massive shout-outs to the race runner-up in Jason San Diego. Also, some momentum, as you said, definitely turning in his favor. But momentum always in the favor of the driver
User was
of
moved to your
the
channel.
Cadillac. And it's broke the stalemate. the first 4-time winner this season. It is Herman Reese. Do you copy?
I got you. Go ahead.
Yep, a win there with a strategy call that 30 laps in the making, put you in that position. But even on those old tires, that thing seemed like it was on rails. I was saying, you look perfectly unfazed up there. That car looked like it was driving pretty well. How was it feeling for you up front?
I knew I had a good car. I just rode around. We got close on the fuel window, and there's so many of us that were even for 15, 16 laps. And I said, to heck with it. I'm going to make a judgment call here. Everybody was pitting for fuel, and we only had 2 laps on the tires. I said, to heck with it. I knew worked hard this week, and my car didn't have a lot of fall off, and it could run some really blistering times. So I gambled, and I got fortunate. I actually said that I thought we were going to go about 8 or 9 laps, and everybody was having to pit again, and the cautions fell the way they did, and then I was forced to stay out, and I had that one bobble there where Jason just about got clear, and I just hung my foot in, and I'm like, this thing, I think I got it. I ran something totally different from my teammates, and I know it looked like I was just saving all night, waiting, to see if we were going to get that long run like we've had in the past.
I was sneaky suspicious with you running pretty much around 6 most of the entire night. I'm like, oh, that's by design. He's just doing his thing. I think I jokingly said to Caleb last week that he's one of the most thrilling guys to watch. You're one of the most boring, but that's a good thing. I was telling these guys that's what you want to be in pretty much any race, because you're just doing your thing and keeping it clean, and that's what's putting you in these positions.
Yeah, I had to use a lot of discipline. There was time, and I actually ran a few laps. I run some 60s. I'm like, I'm going too fast, and at one point I let them get away, and they came right back to me, and that's what I kept telling myself: just stay disciplined. We get this green flag run, you're going to pull away. At the end of the run, I went back through some film, and I saw where Kilojoules was so good at the end of the run, so much faster than everybody else. So that's what I went after, and I achieved even better than what he was in my practice. And so you have to be disciplined. It's so hard when those guys are driving off in the sunset, and you want to stand on the gas, but you can't.
And that's the level of discipline that, yep, as you said, is very hard to get yourself into, but you managed to find a way, and it paid off dividends for you. Maybe some lucky cautions, but all in all, still, that was a lot of good driving and some good strategizing that put you in that position. So very well done. I'll turn it over to Zach if he's got any thoughts or questions for our race winner.
Nope.
Simple. Trey, anything?
I'll take a crack at it. Simple question here, Herman. Like we're talking about you being that Jimmy Johnson figure, where kind of a little bit of a boring to watch you race, but you're able to really stay consistent. How have you been able to really pioneer that, and especially have been able to really develop that over the course of this season to where you're the odds-on favorite to win the regular season championship here in the next couple weeks?
I have a great team, and I've been doing this so long. I think that I joke all the time about the older I get, the more shallow I enter the corner. But in my early days, I was that aggressive guy, maybe like a Ryan Johnson, that I had to get to the lead and try and lead every lap. And I think I enjoy the racing now more with the strategies. I want to win every race, but when I see some of these other guys do some of the stuff they do, I commend them, because it just makes us all better. But this year, last year I fought a brand new wheel that I put on the shelf 3 times, and I committed to it. And even Keith was saying that he believes that the wheel is starting to click. I'm just getting it back to where I was. I ran that TSW wheel for 26, 27 years. So, but that's the only thing I could figure. I'm putting a little time into it, trying some new things outside the box. They're working. And, I have 4 great teammates that contribute. And when you have that and guys that are good, they can try things, and it saves you a lot of test time and stuff. You saw the 2 of my guys were up there all night.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And some luck befell them, unfortunately, but hey, one of those 4 horsemen came out on top, and it was that number 73, win number 4 on the season. A long time coming there. Final question I have for you, and then we'll let you get to your closing thoughts and everything. Heading to Richmond next week. Got to be feeling pretty good about that one being the short track.
I'm terrible there. This is probably my
Oh,
worst
no.
short track, and I've actually won here at Hobo at Richmond. Not one of my. I am usually, and this is so funny. We talk about. I say I'm fourth place, and my average finish at Richmond over the last 10 years has been fourth place. A couple wins in there, but not my. And I like the place, just not my favorite short track. And I'm really good at Iowa, so I don't understand it, but we'll go there. My teammate Keith, who's really good there, has a great setup, and I'll probably roll with that, and maybe I can make some magic like I did tonight and get myself in a position and just when you're the guy on top in the points, you have to race a little bit differently than a guy who is just racing for wins. So and there's times I may pit when I shouldn't, and vice versa, but we'll see. It's going to be a fun race. These guys are really good at Richmond. There's a lot of fast guys next week, you see.
I'm looking forward to bringing that coverage. That will, of course, be in 1 week here on the channel. So check that out. But Herman, regardless, best of luck come that one. Great win tonight. Awesome job.
Thank you.
As always. But before we let you go ahead, close it out with some thoughts, shout-outs, whatever's on your mind.
First and foremost, I want to thank the Rubino brothers. Without them, this isn't even possible. Putting this league on for now, going over 20 years. The racers tonight, we have another field of 23 and 24, and that's what guys on vacation. And I'm not sure who sponsored the race tonight. I asked. I know Troy has sponsored the last couple, and then I think Ray Dog, a couple of Team Speedlands sponsored some. So thanks to them. So you guys get to do what you do, and we get to show our friends and family. And then thank you guys for putting this show on. I watched last week and just keeps getting better and better. The coverage, the videos, everything. Appreciate what you guys do.
Hey, that means a lot, man. I appreciate it. I wouldn't be able to do it without Zach here. He's helped tremendously. I continue to owe him a lot. So
I put him on at the race shop at times. So I am currently working with Matt DiBenedetto at the 99 Xfinity car. So there's been days we're working and say, how'd it go? Let's put on the screen. We'll have the race going in the background while we're working.
That is so freaking cool. You have no idea how much that means. So thank you just for, just getting the name out there. I love it. So appreciate you guys. Great win tonight. We will see you at Richmond, my man. Awesome job.
Thank you. And remember, that thing, that's a battle act. That thing's not a Cadillac. That's a battle act.
A battle act. Yeah, I got to remember that. That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Right on, brother.
We'll see you next week.
User was moved out of your channel.
See you next week, indeed. Oh, man. That was, definitely a very interesting one and a very chaotic finish. But all in all, though, a guy that always manages to emerge toward the front, and strategy got him there, and he held it off perfectly. Zach, I'll get your closing thoughts here first, my man, and then we'll get to Trey.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hobo race on a 1.5 mile track. I mean, I don't really have much else other to say than that. Good one, Herman.
You. Trey, I'll turn it over to you.
I'd say it was a pretty good blend of racing all throughout. Had a couple of really good green flag stints there at the beginning, and I meant to mention that right at the end there. But this race was kind of what the inverse of what we typically see here at Hobo. We had the first half, which was typically green flag stints, pocketed by small single car incidents. And then it was really the second half, and specifically the last 20 laps or so, where things kind of turned to a little bit of a bloodbath, especially right at the end with the big one to end the contest. But ultimately, like we said, patience paying off there for Herman Reese, and we weren't sure if that strategy was going to play out right at the end there, but he was able to take advantage of all the chaos happening right behind him, and he ended up being victorious. But when you got a guy like Herman Reese, a veteran of as many years, over 2.5 decades of racing competition that he has been in, when he's talking about Richmond being a bad track that he's kind of rough at, it's Strawberry Hill. It is certainly both a driver's playground, a driver's worst nightmare, and next week is going to be an absolute blast down there in the capital of Virginia.
And looking forward to bringing coverage of that one, the short track So again, just another unknown of how these guys are going to be tackling it. Pretty much always an unknown every race that we go to. You never quite know what you're going to get, but yeah, the mile and a halves always their own challenge. But hey, we're having fun bringing you guys the coverage regardless. So thank you to both these gentlemen for calling it alongside me, even if it was a little bit unexpected being the 3-man booth, but fun nonetheless. I think that worked out really well. But until next time, though, we will see you all next week here at Hobo in the Cup Series at Richmond. Same time, same place. You know what to do. Let's check it out. But until then, stay cool, stay safe, and be wary of the storms. A lot of them this week.